Hi everyone, Adarsh here. Today we're gonna see how we can expose a Spring controller as a REST endpoint and then securing that Spring controller by using Spring Security. So earlier we have seen that how we can use REST Easy as well as Jersey API, then securing REST Easy application by using Spring Security, Jersey based REST service application by using Spring Security, and now this is a Spring MVC controllers which we have exposed as a REST endpoint and then securing by using Spring Security. So let's jump into the code and see how it looks like. So we have a standard group ID, pom.xml, where we have a standard group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging as a WAV file, name of the application, and then URL, then organizational tag, licensing tag, developer tags. We have a bunch of repository configures here, and then a bunch of properties where we have application name, source code, encoding, and JDK version, Spring version, and then we can make it Spring version. We are using Spring 4.1.6 basically, and for Spring Security I am using 4.1.0 release, and Hibernate 4.3.5, Hibernate validator, MySQL connector, SLF4j, logback, Guava dependency we have, and then we have a common langs, JUnit, and HTTP core version, HTTP client, and all these things. So inside the dependency tag we have a Spring Security web, Spring Security config, and Spring Security taglib. We have a Spring JDBC, Spring Beans, Spring OP, Spring transaction, and Spring expressions, and we have a Spring Web MVC, Servlet 3.0 dependency, Servlet JSTL dependency, Spring ORM, Spring transaction, and Hibernate core, MySQL dependency, and then we have a Jackson dependency here. Then we have a Google Guava API dependency, Apache common. All these things I have not used, and then we have SLF4j, Spring test dependency, JUnit dependency, and then Amcrest core dependency, and these things, Mockito and all, Joda, common langs, common code, common logging, log4j, and JSON API. And then we have a build tag where we have a final name, war file name dependency, then resources configuration here, then plugin configuration. We have a standard Maven compiler plugin, and then embedded JT server configuration here. And inside the code we have a main and test. So inside main we have a help where we have a help file and some screenshots. So in the help file we have a URL and data, and then inside the Java we have a package com.rs.spring.rest, and then resources we have configurations where we have all the XMLs. Database we have SQL properties and log4j XML configuration. Then we have a web app, we have a CSS, JS, WebINF, and inside WebINF we have web.xml and index.jsp, the web app directly. So let's get into the code and see how it looks like. So first thing, we'll start from the web.xml where we have configured a context config location. Basically this is a Spring configuration XML, main configuration XML location. So it's gonna pick up this, and then we have a context loader listener. We have a Spring Security filter configuration here. We have mentioned that every request should be intercepted here, and then Spring dispatcher servlet configuration. So we have said that anything come with /2 or with the rest it's gonna intercept, and we have made it as a web application context.root context attribute, and then welcome file list configuration is there, index.jsp. So starting from application context.xml where we have enabled the annotation configuration, we have resources mapping. Basically we have a component scan. So what we can do, we can just, this can be created here with the resources, but I don't need that thing as of now. And we have a web application context web.xml, application context security.xml, and application context data.xml, data source.xml, and persistent.xml. All these files are importing here. So let's jump into data source, where we have database initializer. So this is a SQL file. We have injected a data source into this, and then this is a SQL which it gonna execute. So where we have all the delete statement first, and then create statement and insert statement for populating basic data, and then this is a data source configuration where we have a driver name, URL, username, password for this. So it's gonna pick up all this information from this property file, application.properties basically. Then we have a persistence.xml where we have a placeholder, property placeholder, location, application context.xml. We have our transaction manager here, and then we have a package for here all the entity classes resides, and then we have a session factory configuration where we are injecting a data source Hibernate package to scan, which is this, and then Hibernate properties like this dilate, show SQL, and all these things it's reading up from this place, application.properties. Then we have a transaction manager configuration basically here. Then we have a web configuration basically, where we have a internal view resolver, as well as what we have done, request mapping handler adapter. We have we have passed a JSON message converter, which is this class, which is a mapping JSON to HTTP message converter. Basically what it does, whatever the HTTP messages are coming and going, it's gonna convert into the JSON, and then setting into the message converter. So message converter internally uses this JSON message converter for converting data into request or response into the JSON format basically. And then we have a internal view resolver here. So in the security.xml, what we have done, we have enabled the global method security, where we have a access decision manager configuration. Basically that is for just so that role should not be prefixed with something. So we have somewhere, I'll come to that later point of time. And these are the configurations which should not be these are the URL configuration which should not be intercepted as a part of Spring security. So index.jsp, favicon, CSS, and JS should not be intercepted. Then we have a HTTP configuration where REST authentication entry point we have configured here. So in the REST authentication entry point, we are just marking as unauthorized, and then we have a pattern here. So any request comes with /rest, it gonna, this HTTP configuration gonna intercept that and then evaluate that. So expressions we have enabled, auto configurations we have made false, CSRF we have disabled here. Then what we have done, we have a login filter basically, so which gonna execute form login filter on this position. Login form will filter will execute on this filter's position, so indirectly it gonna replace this filter. Then we have a bunch of configuration like any request with /rest login, it gonna be a permit all. Anything with the /rest users, it should have either super admin or user or admin role, and for other anything with the /rest / at least it should be either any of these permissions. Then we have a logout URL basically here, /rest /logout. The cookies will be deleted, session will be invalidated, and then rest logout success handler gonna execute. So what it does basically, it will be configured somewhere here, logout success handler. So what it does, it gonna send put the message that logout successful and status, and then converting into the JSON, and then sending back to the caller basically. Then we have access denied handler. So basically access denied handler is something like if somebody try to access the application by changing the URL without authentication, so exceptions will be generated internally, and that gonna be handled by access decision handler. So this what it does basically, it just said that unauthorized or something bad credential and send back the response as unauthorized in the map, and that will be converted into JSON. Then we have a REST authentication entry point. So what it does basically, it will mark every request as a unauthorized and sending back, so Spring Security will act on that. Then we have a login filter here. So in the login filter we have configured authentication manager, then success handler as well as a failure handler. Then any request comes with /rest/login, so this filter will take care of that. It's gonna take out the username and password parameter from that, and it should be a post only request, then only this filter will act on that request. And then we have a REST authentication success handler, where we are saying that a default target URL will be this URL. So this URL is binded to some controller which gonna send some messages. So here you can see that message will be login successful and all. Then we have a failure handler. So failure handler, what it does basically, it gonna say that the bad credential or something, and it gonna send that JSON back to the caller. And then logout success handler, so what it does basically is it says a message that logout success handler in the JSON format and all. And then this is a access decision manager, where we are saying that all the permissions should be prefixed with nothing. So that's why, otherwise by default it will prefix all the roles with role underscore something for matching the user roles with. So that's what this configuration is done. We have a exception translation filter. So what it does, any exceptions happens, it gonna redirect to REST authentication entry point which says unauthorized to that. Then we have a authentication manager configuration here, where we have a user detail service and in memory user detail service, where we have encoded password here. Basically here you can see passwords are encoded in this, and this is a MD5 encoding basically. And user detail service IMPL is somewhere in the Spring REST user detail service, user detail service. So basically where we have injected a user DO and then load user by username, and we are using this. So I'll come to that. And it's gonna fetch the user object and then convert that user object into Spring user object, and then convert all the authorities with the guaranteed authorities, and then set it to that in the array collection, and then send back to the caller for validation. So authentication manager uses that configurations. So that's how the configurations looks like. And then we have a DB, where DB6 script, we have a properties, we have a log4j XML, where we have a console appender and rolling file appender configuration. Then we have a web app, where we have a CSS, bootstrap CSS, JS, we have bootstrap JS and jQuery JS. Web.xml we have already seen, and then index.jsp we are importing bootstrap CSS and JS file and jQuery JS file, and then we are showing some messages here. And in the Java code, what we have, let's see. So in the help we have a URL as well as a data. So we have a first thing here, controller. So REST controller we have. So what it does basically, this I already showed, that success handler is default success target URL is this. So it's gonna return a login success message. And then we have another endpoint /user. So it's gonna get all the user in form of list, and then that is marked as a response body. So this will be inserted in the response body of this. Then we have entities. We have a user entity basically, where @entity and table, this class is annotated. And then we have a primary key ID as well as generated value. And then this is when this is returned as a response, this property will be key will be this, and value will be the value for this. So this is a JSON property configuration, where we have a role also tied to that one-to-one. Then we have a role table, role entity, where we have a ID as well as role name, one-to-many configurations. Then we have a repository role deo impl, injecting a session factory, annotated this class with the @ repository. And then we are saying get the role based on the id. We have a user doi_mpl, where we have this class annotated with the repository, and then we are injecting a session factory into that. And then we have a open session method, which in turn uses a session factory and get the current session. We have a method which get the data based on the username, and then returning back to the caller and get the list of all the user by using criteria basically. So we have a services where we have a role service. So we have annotated this class completely as a transactional, where we are injecting a role do and then getting the role information based on the role id. And then we have a user service impl, so where we have annotated this methods, injecting a user do and then annotated each method with the transactional, and then getting a user based on the login name, and then getting all the users. And then we have a security directory, a security package, where we have access denied handler configuration basically, which set the message into the map and converting into the JSON by using Google JSON API, and then sending back. And we are just setting a media type and then unauthorized all these things. And then we have authentication entry point, where we are just marking all the, this is binded with the exception translation filter also, as well as entry point, so everything it will mark as a unauthorized. Then we have a REST authentication failure handler, which gonna set a message in the map and convert into JSON and send back. Authentication success handler also we have. And then we have a logout success handler. We have a REST user detail service, basically annotated with the service annotation, and implement user detail service of Spring Security, where we have auto-while user do, and this method is a transactional. This is a override method, load user by username, where we are passing a login username, and by using user do we are getting a user object, and by that user object we are creating a Spring Security user object with the guaranteed authorities, and then sending back to the authentication manager, which uses this object to cross verify the input which we have sent from the client. And then we have a username password authentication filter. So here we have not done anything, we have just override. And then we have a security context provider class. So that's how the whole application looks like. And let's build a code and see. Again, clean, install. So my build has failed. I need to check what happened, what went wrong. Okay, my test case has failed. Don't want to execute my test case because -d maven dot test dot skip equal to true. So I have skipped the test case execution now. So nvn jt I'm gonna, because database will not exist there, and due to that it's breaking up. So now I'm gonna execute, and it gonna completely instantiate the populate the database also and all. Something is wrong here, I guess. Okay, what I have done recently, I have changed the version of Spring Security here, which was earlier 4.0.0. Let's see. Then clean install. So with the previous version it's working fine. nvm gt :run. I need to check what's the version change in between that and some classes. Compatibilities issues are there with other APIs. I'll see, and if required I'll gonna update and then push this code to the GitHub. But as of now, after this video, I'm gonna push the same code with the older version, which is 4.0.0. So here the container started on port number 8080, and let's see how it looks like. So okay, this is how the index.jsp looks like, and then let's get into the Postman, and where we need a help.txt file where I have kept the URLs. So I'm gonna show you, paste here, it's gonna be a post request, and if I gonna send this, it's gonna say authenticator, but because I need to say x-www form in URL encoded, and then if I'm gonna see, it's gonna say that authentication is okay, that URL parameters I need to pass, and then you can see that login successful and all. Here I'll get the headers, authentication success, login success, and cookies. I can see the JSON here, and then I'll just duplicate this. I'm gonna put this, I'll just copy this JSON and then replace this section here, and I'm gonna send the, so here I can see the user list, I can see here, and then we have a logout. So in the same request, if I say logout, it's gonna log out. So here you can see eSpark logout success and all. So here you can see that messages. This is because authentication handler, I hit the request with form data without the form URL encoding and all. So I'm gonna push this code to my GitHub repository, which is github.com /Singh 83/spring_security. So my previous application of Spring Security Jersey and Spring Security of REST Easy is already there, so you can pull it up and you can play around with this. I hope this will help you to understand the concept, how we can implement a Spring Security for securing our REST services. So I'll come up with something new and interesting. Till then, take care and bye bye.